Hello, 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 and good evening to you all. Welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am your meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I am here to bring you all of tonight's top weather stories. Before we get started, I will point out thank you to Jenny, who reminded me to get light bulbs for my salt lamp and lava lamp. They are now on in the background, so you'll have that beautiful visual to zone out at and meditate on while I'm talking. It'll probably also make for a cool time lapse. I did also add a green light to balance out my orange light here. So maybe this is getting more and more aesthetic as the show goes on. But I do like to believe that I have got a pretty good lighting setup. I have a ring light in front of me as well as a incandescent light. So I am, well, it's actually LED that's supposed to look incandescent. I am a lighting designer. That's my day job, one of many. But yeah, I hope you guys like it. Comment, let me know what you think of the current lighting setup. I personally think it looks very pretty. And also, it's a shame that you never get to see these three lights all at once, because they make a really pretty framing of this picture, especially when when I turn the big light off, when I turn the overhead light off, and this is the only thing lighting up the room. It's really pretty, but it is not very good for streaming. Streaming's better when there are more light sources pointed towards me so that the camera has more stuff to pick up. Let me put my phone on silent here. 11:11. Starting at 11:11. Oh. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so welcome back. Welcome to the chat. Oh, hello. Welcome back. So good to see you again, Regime. I am so happy to see you. Welcome back. We've got some exciting stuff to talk about today. I usually talk about volcanoes first, but let's actually switch it up and we'll talk about earthquakes first today. So we will show that on stream. That land hurricane that hit Chicago, I will check that out. I didn't know we were calling them land hurricanes, but I actually have I see it. I have it on I have it in my Radar Omega app. Is currently over Kalamazoo and Michigan. That is a beaut. And by a beaut, I mean scary. That is a nasty looking storm. Let's see. Wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour near Kalamazoo. So yeah, that would be hurricane force winds. Dew points to the mid upper 50s. Mixed layer cape decreasing. Okay, it said watch unlikely, but they've got considerable damage threat with 70 mile per hour winds, hail up to 75 or a 0.75 inches. And I bet it was higher earlier today. We will march that back and check out. Let's see if we can go back 100 frames and see. Getting started all over the place here today. I always love when there's weather in this area because I get to see fun names. Oh, wow, that looked just like a hurricane. Oh my gosh, that has that, that ball gazer hand signal that people do where they like do that below their waist. And if you look, you're gay because you looked at balls, whatever. It looks like that. That's this hand shape is the signature of a hurricane, and that definitely looks like it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is some deep, deep circulation. That is impressive. But really, that's the nice circulation that went over Chicago, but it's the line of this like quasi-linear convective system that is getting all the vorticity from that. That's really doing the damage. I mean, there were probably terrible winds with this in Chicago, but I wouldn't want to be in Lansing, anywhere from Lansing to South Bend right now. That looks like the worst part of it. We'll go back and analyze that more in the weather segment, but because that's by no means the only place getting severe weather. There's also a lot going on nationally. Finally, South Florida's in a break and everything's headed towards Tampa, but I digress. Let's go ahead and check since I'm already getting out of order, let me not. Okay, what did you say? Epic. 2-hour time lapse on. Hello, KLEC. Welcome back. We were just talking about Chicago. 2-hour time lapse on COD before it marched into Chicago is so pretty. I'm going to have to check that out. COD, is that a camera or is that a variable that I'm not thinking of right now? Hiked to a waterfall today. Oh, I'm so jealous of that. In Chicago, there was it was beautiful. There was a really perfect rotation, bullseye rotation near Chicago today, and that is currently producing storms from South Bend to Kalamazoo in Michigan. But let's go ahead and take a look at, oh man, I pulled up this article because I have a stand-up comedy joke about this concept about viruses getting unleashed from melting permafrost. I'm going to get to that one in a second. Let's see. I want to go to I don't want to close any of these tabs, but I want to go check out where do we go? There we go. Want to check out if there's any volcano news. 33 actively erupting, and yesterday we had 32, so maybe there's news. Manam volcano, that is the new one. Okay. Explosive activity continues, probably from yesterday. Yes. Okay, Sunday, June 16th. Happy Father's Day, by the way. If you're a father or have a father or know of a father ever or know any single moms, I don't know. Happy Father's Day. Let's see. Mount Ibu issued the following report. I don't know what CVGHM stands for. Nope, I can't remember. Can't remember what that means. Lewitobi exploding, so does Samiru and Marapi. Dukono continuing to explode. And okay, home reef in the Tonga Islands. A new effusive period returned back to the island over the past few days. Strong thermal anomaly in the last Sentinel-2 satellite imagery from June 15th. A new lava flow commenced to descend on the eastern slope, indicating a new batch of magma is rising in the volcano's feeder pipe. So we have seen all these deep earthquakes in the Fiji Islands and Tonga region, and now we are seeing home reef in the Tonga Islands have a new period of volcanic activity. That is a really exciting and cool connection. I love when you get to see a period of deep earthquakes leading up to a new volcanic activity period. Copious acid clouds known as lays or lava haze. I think that's the laziest name they could have come up with. Oh, I cracked myself up. It's a pretty lazy naming scheme. Okay, acid clouds known as lays, identified in the satellite image, indicate an interaction of magma and external water. So that's what creates the acid haze, the lava haze. The phenomenon known as phreatomagmatic activity. That is a fun word. The easterly advancing lava has been enlarging to the island to the east. Oh, so the island is growing. That is always fun to see as well. The volcano's shape appears to be more rounded now. Prior to the eruption, a weak thermal signal was detected in satellite imagery on June 10th, and it has been getting more intense since then. So that is our new player in our volcano roundups. Looks like we also have good imagery of Sabancaya down in Peru with its intermittent emissions. A new video and picture of Mount Lewitobi's Laki Laki crater volcano exploding late in the afternoon on the 16th. That also shows that's a great visual of how the wind speeds and directions affect the way that the volcanic ash plume both rises and settles out. You can see those heavier dust particles settling out as the gases climb vertically. That's a really, really pretty, it almost looks like Virga, but it's really the settling out of the heavier particulates versus the more airborne and lighter than air ash particles there. Gorgeous illustration of how the weather interacts with volcanic gases. Manam in Papua New Guinea has explosive activity as well, and we don't usually talk about that one. So that is an exciting update. All right. All right. There we go. Okay. Oh, College of DuPage is COD. Okay, yeah. I go to college. I don't actually go to College of DuPage very much, but it is a really good resource for preconditioned radar feeds. Let me see. I'm gonna get, oh my gosh, my stream is buffering so bad that I can't scroll to your link. Looked like a poodle that got runned over by a street sweeper. That is such a vicious image. Okay. Let's go to, I'm gonna hit that College of DuPage link in a second. Because next we're going to take a look at our earthquakes, because we go from the ground up here. I don't know why I have shells on in my default view. It always just muddies things up. But okay. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, I'm lagging so badly tonight. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe if I close some other programs. I don't know. Oh, why is this doing that? It won't let me drag. I'm going to have to restart Earthquake 3D. It's not behaving properly. Okay. Then we can go add that. There we go. Let's see. Is this going to work now? There we go. Okay. Okay, earthquake update. We have, looks like, maybe my feed from the Euro just isn't on, but we're really lacking earthquakes in the Crete and Greece area. So I expect that to be populating soon. 4.3 here on the border of, yes, there go all the Greek quakes. 4.3 in Turkey, near northern Syria. Then we also had a 4.4, 4.2, and 3.7 here, just over the border into the Russian side. Then no big looking ones. 2.9 looks like the biggest one we've gotten over here in Greece, but again, it's a clusterfuck as always. Let's move the other way. Let's move opposite the sun today. Let's just shake things up and go the other way. 4.3 here in Western China near the Kyrgyzstan border. That's at 47 kilometers depth. Then as we go down into Sumatra, we got a 4.7 at 65 kilometers depth. 4.8 at 53 kilometers depth as we get into Java, 4.5 at 16 kilometers depth. Then right in the heart of the Philippines, a 4.9 at 57 kilometers depth, all pretty shallow for this region. Then a 4.9, that was yesterday's. No, that's a new one. I thought that was the one from yesterday. 4.9 at 10 kilometers depth right off the coast of Papua New Guinea. Also a new 4.8 in the peak of the waveform, near the maximum of the little line segment that makes up this part of the subsiding Pacific plate. That is a deep one at 194 kilometers depth, and then a shallow one of 4.7 as you get closer to Japan. Japan, where we had two 4.5s right off the coast. Actually, I think those are reading is on land. Let's see. Let me see where that pops up. Yeah, that is on land, just east of Tokyo. That is kind of in the Tokyo metro area. It is like right at the peak of Tokyo Bay, is where those are hitting. And so those are at 73 kilometers depth and 64 kilometers depth. So possibly noticed, but probably not noticed by anybody in the area. Ooh, then we have a pairing of deep and shallow quakes. You know, I love these. A 5.1. Okay, so let's look at these time series. At 10:08 this morning, we had a surface 5. And 15 minutes before that at 20 minutes before that at 9:08, we had a 5.1 at 494 kilometers depth, and those are just slightly off center of each other. The ones that are right on top of each other. Oh, these are right at the same time. Okay, the ones right on top of each other, we had the, first was this 4.4 at 495 kilometers depth. That was at 4:48 a.m. UTC. Then, or actually my local time, sorry. UTC, it was earlier than that. Then, right at the same time, about 5 hours later, we had this 5.1 at 494 kilometers depth, concurrent with a 5.0 at 0 kilometers depth. So that is the sandwich that I've noticed in Dutch's earthquake forecasting. He highlights the prominence of a deep 5 and a shallow 5 together, being something significant. I don't remember what the significance was that he mentioned, but I have noticed since watching his reporting that you do tend to see, when you see a very deep 5, like say a 5.2 at 567 kilometers deep, you also see a shallow one, a 50 at like a 5.1 at 0 kilometers depth. So these pairs of deep and shallow 5s, deep and surface 5s actually, were about 30 minutes apart. The more northeastern one was first, and this more southwestern one was second. And these are both in the region of where we've seen new, these are really on the Fiji stretch of islands rather than the Tonga part, but this is still in the area where we are seeing new volcanic activity. Really exciting to see those connections there. 4.4 up here in northern New Zealand was pretty deep at 224 kilometers depth. And yeah, they are still showing yesterday's quakes. Are these yesterday's quakes or are these new ones? I don't think these are new 6s and 5.8s. Are they? Let me zoom back out in date and see if more show up. No, these are the ones that showed up yesterday. Let's see. But we did have a new one here where we saw the 5.5 yesterday. We saw a new 4.9 in that area in the like southern Indian Ocean and Antarctic Ocean plate boundaries there. Then as we head over, we had, another pair. Oh, a 6. A 6 in Peru, I believe. Make sure I'm saying geography right. Yes, 23 kilometers southwest of Atipiqua. Wait, is that what it said? Atiquipa. Yeah, that's what I said. Peru. That is, the epicenter is just off the coast. Let me show you the USGS feed of it here real quick. So that is the intensity rings that would have been felt from it. I guess that is the Nazca plate, because I see somewhere called Nazca up there, Rio Nazca. That is wild, because yesterday we had that 6 kind of on the opposite side of the Earth. Well, not exactly opposite side of the Earth, but yesterday we had the 6s down here. Today we've got the 6s, and a pair of 6 was on the surface here. There's a 4.1 at 35 kilometers depth. Sorry, sometimes my camera doesn't behave. And then there was a 6 on the surface. So there was 6 at 19 kilometers deep and a surface 6, a 0 kilometers depth 6. That definitely would have been felt by people. I think the 4.1 was actually deeper at 35 kilometers depth. So Peru, I'm expecting news stories about that, honestly. They're showing up as very recent. They are showing up as, well, the 4.1 is very recent. The 6.0 happened at 4:14 UTC time on the 16th. That was like today at 10:47 a.m. Eastern time. We have a 4.4 at 12 kilometers depth up here. Is this Colombia, or am I making that up? No, that's Ecuador. Duh, obviously. The same colors on the flag, but very different countries. Ecuador right on Rio Pastaza, on the river right there. Did I change this back yet? No, I didn't. Didn't change this back to Earthquake 3D. There we go. Beautiful. Seeing a lot of deep and surface quakes in South America now. Yeah, some really deep ones as we get into Chile. We had a 4.4 at 116 kilometers and a 4.1 at 138 kilometers and a 4.2 in Argentina at 254 kilometers depth. So those were all, the 4.2 was the first one out of this entire region. It's almost as if it's coming out of the snake of energy underneath the ground, metaphorically, coming from that 6.0 site on the Antarctic and Indo-Australian plate boundary, came, up from there towards this 4.2, then really surfaced itself again right here in coastal Peru. So that's exciting. I wonder if that energy will go back down into the earth or continue translating along the surface. We've got a healthy amount of mid-range 2s around Puerto Rico, and those are in the 11 kilometers depth range. Then over here in the southern coast of Mexico, we've got all these mid-range to upper level threes at like a surface deep range of the 10. We're ranging. Okay, the furthest one south is the deepest at 80 kilometers depth. Then as we get into near the southern border, there's both a shallow and a deep. Yeah, it looks like the deepest is this 4.1 at 80 kilometers depth. And then the shallower you get, the weaker the intensities get. Oh, and they just disappeared from me for a second. But this is an area where we have also seen a lot of convection. And we will get to that in our tropical update soon. All of these points that you see, like I'm going to take the ring sizes down so you can see the points better. But all of those points are areas where this is an area where there's a lot of convection happening in the atmosphere. So it'll be really cool to see an overlay of that with the plumes. Speaking of plumes of earthquakes, we've got a big stack over in West Texas, including a 3.7. We don't usually see it all the way up into the upper threes. And again, it's one of those things where USGS is citing this as southwest of White City, New Mexico, instead of saying that it's in western Texas. I wonder why. Let's see. Does this give me... No, I bet that's why Dutch always goes to Google Earth, because it won't give you a actual satellite view. Interesting. I think this is an area where there's a lot of drilling, so that is why we usually see so many earthquakes. But a 3.7, that is significant, because usually these stay in the 2 range, upper 2 range. Let's go back to earthquake 3D though, because we got a lot to get through. There are, let me take the quake size up to like 2. Oh, the most recent quake is this 1.3 right in the Sierra Nevadas. Oh no, that the 3.3 is in the Sierra Nevadas. The most recent, this 1.4, is in Nevada. 40 kilometers south of Goldfield, Nevada. It is due west of Nellis Air Force Base and due north of the Grapevine Mountains and the Death Valley National Park. It's north of Death Valley and west of Nellis Air Force Base. So right outside the Nevada National Security Site, we just had a 1.4. That's fun. That's fun for all the conspiracy theorists out there. I don't have any theories, but I'm presenting the facts so that you can make your own theories. Interesting. So then we also had a 3.1 in Utah. 3.1 in southern Utah is unusual as well. I expect to see it up. This is near Canaraville. Canaraville? That's weird. Oh, yeah, because it's the Canara Mountains. That is right south of Cedar City and Cedar Valley. It is also due north of Zion National Park, one of the most beautiful and scary national parks in the country, I think. That is really cool. Man, the placement of earthquakes is just fascinating. But we don't have time to get into all of them on this channel. I will leave that for the experts like Dutch. Okay, 2.7 and 3.0 as we get up closer to the Bay Area in California. Then a 2.6 up here in Washington, near Redmond, just east of Seattle, northeast-ish of Seattle. As we get up into, off the coast of Canada, we had a 3.2. And a healthy stack of mid-range 2s. I wonder how deep these go. They don't look quite as deep as others. Oh no, a 107. A 107, a 118. We've got some pretty deep 2.5s throughout. Yeah, a 140 down here on the Alaskan Peninsula. These are no joke. I think earthquake, I can safely say that I feel like deep earthquake activity is on the rise in the globe, or at least it feels like it. There are only a few shallows, and then as you add in the lower magnitude quakes, they get more shallow, but the higher magnitude quakes are definitely deeper. And then there's a 3.2. The 3.2 was a surface 3.2, so I wonder if any boats out there felt that. Just a 1.6 out in the Aleutian Island chain. Looks like our Hawaiian roundup, we did get to a 3.0 at 3.31 kilometers depth with a few 2s and 1s. And then we're back where we started with that Tokyo earthquake. Oh, also, as we go at the very end of the Aleutians into the Vesmiani, Kamchatka Peninsula area, we had 4.8 and 4.1 at 10 kilometers depth. So there is our earthquake roundup for today. Let's see what you guys had to say about that. I'm not able to check chat while I'm talking or I'll get distracted. But I saw 4 people were in here, but, oh, hello. Hello, Jenny. I'm glad to see you. Anything in Carlsbad? Northwest? Carlsbad. Let me look for that. Do you mean New Mexico? Because you said NW, which I think of as Northwest, but Carlsbad, New Mexico would make more sense. Let's see. Where is that? Okay. Buffer. Let me see on the... Nothing's showing up weather-wise. Let's see. Just near La Huerta. Let's see. Why is Carl bad? What did he do? What did Carl do? What did Carl ever do to you? Okay. Oh, yeah, it rings a bell because they always say south of Carlsbad, New Mexico when they talk about the West Texas quakes. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, these quakes look very close to Carlsbad, but they're not technically. Wait, am I showing quakes right now? Yeah. They look like some of these get reported as south of Carlsbad, but they're not. They're in West Texas. One of these being a 3.7. So that's kind of crazy to see a 3.7 out here from presumably oil drilling related quakes. That's what I assume. But I haven't seen any weather to speak of or earthquakes in the area today. Thank you for asking. New Mexico. Okay, yes, I understand. Dyslexive. Why did they give dyslexia such a hard name to see? I hate that, and I also hate that Lisp has an S in it. That feels prejudiced against I feel like it's mean to make people with a lisp say lisp, and it's mean to make people with dyslexia spell the word dyslexia. That's ableist. Okay, let's move on to our atmosphere. So we will actually talk about our weather here. Not much going on in Carlsbad, New Mexico. We had a little bit of troughing come into the region recently, at the same time that we are getting this ridging up in the east. So this is the troughing that we're speaking of. potentially bringing in cooler weather. There's supposed to be a lot cooler temperatures in the Pacific Northwest, maybe even some snow coming up at the upper elevation soon. Seattle looks like maybe the what did we call it? Burnt Creek, the Burn Scar, something Creek, Burn Scar that has had flood warnings recently. Looks like we don't have any flood warnings right now, but we are still looking at localized elevation-based precipitation. We've also got this big formation area that's heavily warned out here in Nebraska. And as the frames tick by after dark, you can see that these things are exploding. We're in severe thunderstorm warnings and severe thunderstorm watches due to earlier prolific hail-producing supercell has weakened, while other storms from south central into northeast Nebraska failed to mature thus far. Lingering areas of convection to flare up over the next few hours as a low-level jet continues to strengthen in the region. So we got a low-level jet. We are right at the inflection point of a ridge and a trough, most likely near north of a surface front. However, with the strongest descent becoming focused farther north, the window of opportunity for redevelopment close to the surface may be limited. Well, Dean issued at 10:42 p.m., about an hour ago. Your prediction might be right for this mesoscale discussion area, except for the fact that this cell does look like it wants to develop. Maybe it won't have as much access to a good outflow region. I'll have to take a look at this on our derived wind satellite to get a better view of what's happening at all levels. But these areas look nasty, particularly in Nebraska, all over Nebraska, but northwestern and borderlands, Nebraska, South Dakota. This is blowing up into something terrible with 60-mile-per-hour winds and up to an inch or quarter-sized hail. We're getting half-dollar-sized hail back here, and this other severe thunderstorm warning north of Alliance has warned up a quarter size as well. Watch possible mesoscale discussion also talks about high-based convection is gradually strengthening. Deep layer shear is sufficient to support some storm organization and some threat for hail and localized severe gusts. Yes, if ongoing convection is able to mature, and it has. And again, we're talking about that lower level jet again, supporting northward advance, elevated buoyancy, and strong development across the Nebraska Panhandle. Very steep mid-level lapse rates and sufficient deep layer shear, again, will support potential for organized convection with the threat of hail. Watch issuance around 9 to 10 p.m. Of course, that is right on the money. We're right about, in their local time, it is around 9 to 10 p.m. So that is a great forecast. And of course, there's also a flash flooding possible mesoscale discussion in the area as well. As we get into, this is the area where Reed Timmer was storm chasing today, and he had kind of a bust day. There were no tornadoes, but there was some really deep convection and rotation. Seems like this storm has decided to recycle itself as the nightfall sets in. You can't rely on night to quiet down the storms in the summertime when there's just so much available energy. Also, we were talking earlier, regime the land hurricane in Chicago. That's what created this convection here. Look at that beautiful little eye candy swirling around. It, I bet, got sheared off and is now going into, there was perpendicular to the Earth rotation at the beginning, and then that has since bent over and gotten funneled into parallel to the Earth rotation, which is what we get in these quasi-linear storms. But this doesn't even look, it started out like a squall line, and it is now kind of morphed into this cell trying to organize itself almost. You can kind of see what's happening in Lansing and Jackson as like an outflow, the backwash, and the main convection happening over Zoo and Battle Creek. This area is becoming the main convection region. I'm interested to see what this flower shape, it looks like a ninja shuriken or like something with spokes, like rims on a car or something. It looks almost like mini banding, and it kind of looks like a bird. Do you guys see it? Do you see the goose? Here, these are its little wings. These are the little wings. This is its little body, and this is its little head. Do you see the duck? These are its little feet. See, this is why I consider myself a comedian / meteorologist. No self-respecting soul meteorologist would be like, oh, look at the funny duck. But, I'm a comedian too, so I get to say, it looks like a silly little goose. It looks like a silly little goose. I'm a silly little goose pointing out that there's a silly little goose on the radar. Okay. Anyway, the silly little goose, if it rotated any, would be kind of a scary little goose. I'm not even going to lie, because look at all of this compression. All of this squall line is not petered out, but has kind of formed itself into this nice, almost heart-shaped cardioid shape. And is this a new mesoscale discussion they just issued? No, that was the old one. Something else is new. But they said watch unlikely, and here we are with severe thunderstorm warnings. But yeah, that looks nasty. That is what came out of Chicago today. Let's take a look at the College of DuPage radar so that we can, let's see, look at that. And I want to see, I don't want to look at satellite. I want to look at radar. I don't use this one very often, so forgive me for not knowing how. Actually, I like. No, do we have? Oh well. Let's see. Yeah, that's eye candy, all right. Let's see. Mid-level water vapor. That's our mid-level. Where's our lower level looking like? So pretty vertically stacked in the mid and lower levels. Then our upper level also pretty well stacked. I mean, this looks nice. And by nice, I mean mean. Looks ugly. Let's see if I can I go back? Where's the radar? Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Let's see. Do I get to pick? Let's go back a few. Oh, yeah. Look at that on 96 images. Wow. Wow. Look at that thing. That is beautiful. Beautiful and terrifying. And I mean, if you were in Chicago, you probably didn't even know that it looked so ominous on radar because there wasn't a lot of precipitation associated with it. But I bet those rotational winds were kind of scary too. You can see its outflow boundary very clearly spawning its own line of thunderstorms that is now forming into our silly goose shaped storm. Yeah, that outflow boundary really acting like a little mini surface front, like a surface cold front, which is kind of what it is. It's a little not micro scale, I guess a mesoscale cold front. That is beautiful. Let's see if I can get velocity to show. Yeah, buddy. Let's look at reflectivity at a higher tilt. Sorry, y'all. I'm nerding out now because this is just such a beautiful storm. I'm so glad that you brought this up. I'm going to have to make College Do Page one of my more go-to. I know a lot of broadcasters use it, but I just haven't out of habit. Okay, so the upper level, the most steep tilt of the radar is really showing the story of the storm forming and then collapsing in on itself, and then really feeding into, I bet there was a little bit of sinking air as we went over the lake. You see this rotation kind of collapse, and the upper level, the echo tops start to go below the range of the upper level. But you even see the outflow boundary and associated convection with it. That's really cool. Let's see. Okay. Next. Oh, did I talk about everything I wanted to on Radar Omega? Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the southeast. There's a lot of convection spurring up around New Orleans, or not New Orleans, near New Iberia, headed towards Lake Charles and western coastal Louisiana. Also in Florida, the Panhandle, all the way to Tampa, really to Bradentown. We've got a lot of offshore convection, so it's probably not seeming that scary, but the offshore convection is moving in the direction of its shape slightly. So, like, headed towards Apalachicola, Crawfordville, this bay right here, south of Tallahassee. Is that the Tallahassee Bay? I don't know. That area is probably getting clobbered right now out of nowhere. And I can tell you from experience, the southern parts of the Appalachian Mountains tonight do seem like they want to spawn up some storms. As the sun was setting, I can totally see how there were these random cells popping up because it was really moist and warm, and the atmospheric instability was high. It feels like anything could happen. And I could tell instability was high because of the clouds that I saw out there. You can see unstable air when the shape of the cloud looks more chaotic, but also when it looks, the most chaotic thing it could do is look super organized. So when clouds also have a really distinct pattern to them, that can indicate a lot of atmospheric instability, because that means that there's such a shallow gradient that air can really easily move up and down. That's what instability means. Okay. Thank you for laughing at the duck. I think somebody needs to be making light of the weather, because I think people tune out if they get too scared. And so I am here to keep it a little light, keep it fresh, keep it funky, just so that we don't get too afraid, because it is very easy to get afraid of the weather because of everything that's happening. Speaking of the everything that's happening, let's go ahead and talk about that. So, I forgot to mention there is the wildfire going on near LA. So there's a wildfire, northwest of Los Angeles, and it's 12,000 acres at this point. It's only 2% contained. And I believe California does use prison labor to fight wildfires. So everyone say a prayer for the souls that are out there fighting that fire. It is no easy feat, especially when you get paid $2 an hour, and that goes straight to commissary. So, I mean, it's not the only firefighters they have out there. There are also lots of wildfire fighters that go to these destinations throughout the year, but that is one thing that you got to look out for in California is a lot of prison labor is used, in my opinion, unethically. So keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers, as well as the people in the path of this fire. Let's see. This is both the Hungry Valley Recreation Area and the Pyramid Lake Reservoir were closed due to the fire threat. So crews were also responding to a southern part of the fire, moving southeast towards Lake Pyramid. So Pyramid Lake Pyramid area, that is actually also a very tectonically active area. Let me see if there's any earthquakes going on there. Maybe. Hold on. Might have been an earthquake concurrent with this. Oh no, this is much south of LA. LA. That's how people say it. LA. No, the earthquakes are not concurrent with the fire right now. Okay. Let me close some of these tabs. Got it. Okay. So there is unfortunately a wildfire raging out there. Slightly higher temperatures and lower humidity are expected to continue, so people need to remain vigilant. Let's be cautious of these extreme wind gusts as well. Speaking of wind gusts, let's take a look at our oh no, that's not what I want. I want derived winds. Okay. So looks like maybe there are some onshore winds, but not looking super fast or zonal. So hopefully that'll help them keep the fire contained. Oh, you can even see it. You can see the wildfire smoke on satellite right here. Look at that. Look at that right there. That is the wildfire. Crazy. You can see it right there. And you can see it kind of giving some cloud condensation nuclei to the air over the Baja Coast. There's also, oh my gosh, we haven't even started to talk. I've been talking forever and we haven't even started to talk about our tropical update, where we've got an area of a new invest area forming around the Yucatan Peninsula, the Bay of Campeche. There is a tropical gyre forming, which, as I said last week, Jenny, when you asked, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to update you that there is possibly some South Texas rain going to happen. I don't know if it has the potential to reach hurricane status by landfall, but I do believe that this tropical gyre is going to continue escalating in intensity and organizing itself as it moves towards the South Texas coast. So you will need to be on high close lookout, high alert for potential tropical developments here. This is where the low is centered on the surface, but this is where there's a lot of convection. I'll get to that in tropical tidbits. Anyway, this is where we are seeing that huge upper level ridge forming. And you can see that we've got the swooping, like a crashing wave going on. So that is swinging cold air over the sea into the lower atmosphere. That means that the lower air is cooler than the upper air, meaning it's stratifying even more, but it's also wedging that air up. So that's why we're getting some of that instability and random firing off of convection in this line from like Charleston to Iowa, like this line right here, or really Charleston to the Missouri-Iowa border. That diagonal line is the axis where we're getting the most of that scooping up, swirling. Then you can see our convection in the Midwest popping off as well, but we are only getting velocity shear and not directional shear. So it's not very rotational, meaning not looking very good for tornado formation, but looking highly favorable for strong updrafts and hail formation and random, really intense supercells and squall lines, which is exactly what we're seeing. Also, look at that little mini hurricane on Chicago today, really forming into that silly goose, scary duck situation. Anyway, let's take a look at tropical tidbits because they've got. Now, first we'll look at long wave infrared, but then I want to look at my favorite plot, which is RGB water vapor. Oh, am I still streaming? Are you here? Hello. Okay, sorry. My helpful source to follow regarding wildfires. Oh, somebody's Twitter. Okay. Cool. I will pull that up in a second. Hotshot Wake. I was right. I was a week ahead of all the other meteorologists with the Texas tropical storm. Thank you. Well, that's not, I don't aim to be ahead of people. I aim for everyone to be able to use all the tools at their disposal. And I'm trying to highlight that the planetary movements did indicate that there should be some tropical development in that region. But I mean, we are a long way from professional scientists taking me seriously on that. I'm going to need to do this update every day for years and years for people to be able to start looking into astrometeorology seriously again. But the literature is out there. In the early scientific revolution, there were a lot of scientists trying to not only map the lunar cycles with tide heights, but also aspects to Mercury, Venus, and Uranus and Neptune, along with atmospheric cycles. There's also a big part played by Jupiter as well when it comes to convection specifically. Anyway, this is the gyre I was talking about, and this is it in long wave infrared. I like to look at water vapor RGB because, again, of course, y'all know me. I am very biased towards seeing all layers of the atmosphere at once. So this you can really see. We've got this outer band coming from the tropical near equatorial Pacific, all spawning up its own convection. And earlier when I was talking about the earthquake update, I was talking about how all along this southern Pacific coast of Mexico, we are seeing a lot of convection popping off right at the same places that we're getting some about 30 kilometer down 3.5 range earthquakes. The same places that we're seeing this convection pop off, we are also seeing those earthquakes. And then there is this larger scale gyre where this kind of looks like the ancient druidic like the trefoil 3 spiral dynamic shape. You can kind of see 3 different nodes of this gyre all streaming together. There are all kinds of little mini convective systems inside of this larger gyre. And even though it's centered over land, it is still picking up steam because aloft at the upper levels, we actually have some clockwise rotation. You can kind of see that in I guess when you see the red in the clouds, it's hard to see purple. You can really only see the red when you see the purple, but you can see 2 different rotations, and that is really good for storm development. Having higher pressure aloft and lower pressure down low, usually would create sinking air, but we are looking for organization with a surface low. And when it comes to, according to Tropical Tidbits himself, Dr. Levi Cowan, his first update was today, so it is officially the start of tropical season. If Dr. Cowan has started making his YouTube videos, then we are in tropical season, baby. He has indicated that it is better for storm development for there to be an upper level high right above the surface low instead of low all the way up and down. Because then it would just kind of fizzle itself out. There's a good outflow. There's a good upper level diffluence when there's high pressure. The air wants to get away at that upper level when you have an upper level high. So that clockwise rotation at the high level is actually a good thing for this storm development. Let's see our forecast models though. I want to look at, we have 500 level vorticity. Oh, that's weird. Just the video is showing. Okay, there we go. All right, and as we march into the week, into the 20s, GFS doesn't have much developing, but let's look at the Euro, because I think the Euro has a more aggressive take on this. I might want to change my region to where am I gonna get Western Atlantic? Is that gonna, yeah, there we go. Okay, we can really see this forming on the mid upper level rotation here. And 500 level vorticity is a good indicator of organization, because that's really that middle layer between the lower and upper layers. And you see that even if it doesn't turn into a full-fledged organized tropical depression, this is still going to be flinging a ton of moisture onshore in Texas. Do you see this happening right here? All the vorticity and mid-level airstream being flung onshore. Let's now look at our lower dynamics. Look at like 850 vort. And by vort, I mean vorticity. And by vorticity, I mean spinniness. So it's even clearer on our lower level vorticity that this is really organizing itself, at least in the more aggressive Euro model that you see in WF. And it's looking like making landfall in northern coastal Mexico here. But the northeastern quadrant is usually where you get the strongest rain bands in a tropical system. And that northeastern quadrant is what's making landfall straight head-on perpendicular to the South Texas shore. So all the way from Corpus Christi to Houston, we are probably going to be, and remember I said this is going to happen at the same time as a full moon, meaning our high tides are going to be the highest they could be. We're going to have storm surge to deal with, even if this doesn't turn into a hurricane, even if this doesn't turn into a tropical named storm. This is going to be a storm to look out for if you're in coastal and southern Texas. I think it's going to be kind of like what we had going on in and there's also a development region out here in the Atlantic that is acting a little weird, showing up on models as potentially a funky time, but it's supposed to go up and do that like armpit grazing, when if the Carolina and Florida coast is like the armpit of the coastline, there are storms that come in and just kind of, it's like putting on deodorant. It's the motion of the storm coming and putting deodorant onto the coast, the Carolina coastline. It's going to do one of those numbers, according to the Euro and GFS right now. But yeah, this looks kind of nasty if you live in Texas right now. So even if this doesn't get named, even if this stays Invest Area 90E, we just had all of that torrential rain in Florida from an invest area. And let's take a look at that. Our 168 hour, I don't know why I'm zoomed out right now. I shouldn't be. I don't know why that's so zoomed in. Our Invest 90L, that was later our first named storm of the season, Tropical Storm Alberto. This is all from that pre-naming named storm. So I think that that's what we're going to see in South Texas. We're going to see, even before it reaches the organization level of naming, we're going to start seeing that onshore flow of moisture and vorticity that is necessary to create a lot of rainfall. And then, I mean, as you go into, that's 168 hours, you go into 72-hour analysis, it slows down a bit. And thankfully, in our 24-hour analysis, we only got a little bit of rain on top of that. But Florida really can't handle more rain. South Florida can't handle more rain at this time. Look at them maxing out the scale at 15 inches of rain. That's a lot. So yeah, let's we'll keep an eye on this development region. Everybody down there batten down the hatches. Yeah. Oh, let's also, so I was saying earlier, I didn't show you guys my when I was talking about the, he's a retired hotshot fire crew chief who follows current events to wildfires, very helpful, timely, useful information, anyone in the affected areas. Okay, I'm going to highlight that on stream. Let's see. I don't know why my web page is so laggy. Thank you for throwing that out there to be helpful. I really do appreciate that. Let's see. But what I was saying is I was showing the motion of a storm on the Carolina coast going like this. I think it's like the motion of, like, if my arm here and armpit is the Carolina coast, then the storm is going to go up and out just the way that you would put on deodorant. I think it's a funny analogy there. Okay. Hotshot Wake on X is the guy that we're supposed to check out here. Let's see. Ignore the headlines that get targeted towards me. I tend to only click on nature headlines, so I have very skewed bias in my curated feed. The hotshot. Oh, I'm already following him. Haha. I guess I do follow the hotshot. Gonna be a busy fire season. Yeah. Oh, and he's got lots of developments with wildfire fighters. The Max fire is burning in Lancaster, California, already over 500 acres. I didn't even see that one yet. Arizona, the Bear fire is now a 110 degree, 447 acre smoldering ashtray that is 81% contained. All right. Good work, firefighters. I think the one we were talking about near LA is called the Post Fire. Yes, this is the Post Fire. So this is USDA Forest Service. Rob Lado, 2% contained. I mean, that is just terrifying imagery. I cannot imagine doing that. I matched with a wildfire fighter on Tinder one time back when there were wildfires in the Appalachians, and I was just like, I don't really even want to do Tinder stuff. I just want to know what it's like to be a firefighter, because that sounds so hard. And he was like, yeah, it's terrible and hard, but I do get to travel a lot. So there's a bright side. I get to meet all kinds of people. So if you are a very brave slut, you can look for a career in firefighting wildfires. That would probably be a fun one for you. Not saying that all wildfire fighters do that. I'm sure a lot of them are happily married and monogamous and very nice people. Not that sluts aren't nice people. Anyway, off topic. Let's go back to what I was saying about scientists discover a biological nightmare deep beneath the ice in Alaska. This is an interesting past chronicle. They're talking about how the melting permafrost layers and melting glaciers in Alaska specifically, the water that's melting from those, the fresh water that's melting from those, has been analyzed by scientists recently, and it's been shown to contain over 200 different types of bacteria and viruses, many of which have never been seen or encountered by humans. Humans have never seen them, such as the Cedra virus, Pandora virus, Megavirus, and Pac-Man virus. Now that one sounds made up, but I kind of just reminds me that all names are technically made up. Have been identified in the ice. Some could pose potential threats to humans, including same bacteria that led to the Spanish influenza of 1918. That was our last big pandemic. As well as anthrax. And they reminded us of that story a few years ago where there was a herd of some 1,800 reindeer in Siberia that contracted anthrax from thawing permafrost. Now, I bring this up because this is another, I hate to say I told you so, but I don't really hate to say it because I called it, and I like being right, but I also hate that I am right because it's a sad truth. In one of my stand-up bits, I talk about how millennials are middle-aged at 30 because 60 seems like the top. Seems like the oldest we're going to get. And that's because of a lot of things like the crippling of American retirement system. The three-legged stool of retirement is now just a disc on the floor. I have more money in seed banks than I do in real banks, that kind of thing. And also, I think that the previous pandemic was just a practice pandemic, and we are due for the big one soon. This was just to teach us what it's like to be in a pandemic situation. The real big one is yet to come, and that is because the permafrost and the ice caps are thawing, and those things are like a funfetti cupcake of bacteria and viruses, where instead of sprinkles, there are little air pockets, and the little air pockets have little pockets of bacteria and viruses that are just waiting to come out. I say that it's going to be like Dino COVID. That's my little joke. I think I should put more of my stand up on YouTube, but I haven't yet. But anyway, that the third prong of that joke is that the water wars are coming, so we better learn how to drink pee now. You can either really Bear Grylls it, or you can get into it as a safe, fun, loving thing to do with your partner. You could do it as a kink, but anyway, you're going to have to get more comfortable with the thought of drinking your own urine. Not that you can actually hydrate efficiently that way, but you're going to have to not be grossed out by the thought of drinking your own pee if you want to survive the water wars. Anyway, like I said, okay. Like I said, the permafrost is just a big old funfetti cupcake full of nasty bacteria and viruses. So buckle up. It's going to be fun. They're so sexy. So many sexy California firefighters here. Oh, that's funny. Number one cheaters, sadly. I don't know about that. I'm not going to disparage the firefighters, but if you have experience, we'll warn people. Maybe they just need to be free like a tumbleweed. Tumbleweeds actually terrible for wildfires. Tumbleweeds are an invasive species of Russian sage, I believe, or it's some sort of mint family that comes from Russia that is non-native, and it's one of the earliest invasive species. And that's what creates tumbleweeds. Is their natural cycle is to die, detach, and spread their seeds, and they are just amazing kindling for wildfires. So our image of the American West, our Western movie image of the tumbleweed, is actually a big icon of invasive species and colonization, ethnobotanist lens colonization. Oh, interesting. So interesting. Everyone cares so much about this cloud. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to Heart Math Institute, because I have found a slightly better source for looking at our Schumann resonances. Our Schumann resonance power is measured at 6 different Global Coherence Initiative data centers around the world in California, Saudi Arabia, Lithuania, Alberta, Canada, Northland, New Zealand, and Hluhluwe, South Africa. I don't know if I'm saying that right. South Africa, New Zealand, Canada, Lithuania, Saudi Arabia, and America. Those are the 6 areas that they have these sites, these identical sensing sites in. And these are the power levels of the Schumann resonances measured in those areas. As you can see, our big old storm back in May was really peaking out in Lithuania. And then our activity that we had in early June was much more prominent in Saudi Arabia than anywhere else, though the whole world did see an increase. I think this is a great illustration of how where you are on the planet in relation to day or night when different cycles hit, solar wind cycles hit, that has a big impact on what power level is shown. They also have a great visualizer of, they have a cool thing called the random network variance, and that is where a random number generator, a computer program that generates numbers randomly, will show more and less randomness according to what is happening with global coherence and people being on the same wavelength, quite literally, in their heart and mind and soul. Because your heart and mind, at least, do have very literal wavelengths associated with it. It's your heartbeat and your brain waves. Brain waves, of course, being the same frequency range as the Schumann resonances. And your heartbeat supposed to be a lot faster, but in the higher range of the Schumann resonances. So when these, the randomness of the numbers goes down, the red line is 95% significant, grayish red is 99% significant, or confidence intervals. I mean, not significance intervals. When we go outside these confidence intervals, it's probably could be experienced from random fluctuations, consistent deviations from randomness correlating with collective consciousness reactions to global events may represent the impact of the consciousness on the network. So we are going from our average, normal, pretty standardly random, decreasing down to our statistically significant or outside of 1 and 2 sigma range of randomness. It's a really interesting network. It's a really interesting measurement. I think that the GCI is working on. And they've also got the spectrogram calculator for all 6 of their stations. This is the Schumann resonances displayed at all 6 of their locations. So like you see, Saudi Arabia is 2 and Lithuania is 3. And you can see they are just slightly, you see their daily maxima slightly offset because they're just a little bit apart in longitude. But then when we go to 4, Alberta, Canada, that is just about perfectly opposite of Saudi Arabia. So where they're having their daily middle of the day sun at its peak heating hours bursts, Saudi Arabia is having their nightly restart dip in the Schumann resonances. Your day side is always going to have a little bit more electromagnetic activity than your night side here. And this is a great illustration of that. So this is what we saw today. Looks like in South Africa, we got really high in the Schumann resonances power level, as well as in Alberta, Canada. Now, New Zealand's not showing up ever since the last, New Zealand's lagging a little bit. And here in California, USA, we did see a decent little sinusoidal wave in mode 1. Now, this is opposite of the way that the spectrogram or sonogram is set up in the Tomsk-Russia station that we're usually looking at, but Tomsk is going to show something really remarkable today, too. Let's look at the sonogram. Look at that. That is crazy. And they did not have a whole lot of rain in Tomsk today. This is usually something you would expect to see if there's a thunderstorm. But this is during their peak heating, during their daytime when they are facing the sun and getting the best coupling with the sun's rays to their earth. But this is their peak heating hours. If it's after their noon, these are in their local time, noon hours. So this is noon to sunset, really, is when they were getting all of this stimulation, all this power. And we've seen these regular intervals of, Stefan Burns just put out a good video saying that some of these like really regular stripes of horizontal and vertical uniform power bursts could be due to just wind alone. actually shaking up the long wires that are the magnetic field antennas. And I buy that because they would definitely produce their own. I mean, they produce their own sound vibrations when wind goes over a string. Like if this was the sensor and it went, the wind. Do you hear that? That little whoop, 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 whoop. That's an aeolian tone. It's called an aeolian tone, and it is the sound of wind whipping through the power lines. It actually is being played like a flute or a guitar string, or a combination of a flute and guitar string, really. It's the sound of the oscillation of that tense wire being shedding eddies, shedding vortices in the wake of the wind that creates a sound. Anyway, Schumann resonances were very active today. Let's take a look at the amplitudes. Put us at a big power burst between like noon and midnight in their local time, which is peak heating hours of the day. What did that do to our frequencies? Our frequencies actually only dropped during that power burst and then slowly climbed right back up. Then we did have another vertical spike, like pretty uniform vertical spike, followed by with frequencies going down when power goes up. But right after that power download, frequencies shot right back up again. So we are sitting with high frequencies and high power right now. Let's see what our space weather looked like today. Are y'all still with me? So a bacteria cupcake with a glass of urine. Yes. Yes, Jenny, you get me. That's my comedy. So if you want to see my comedy where I'm talking about bacteria cupcakes and glass of urine, come to my comedy shows. Yeah, that's the bit. I have a hard time remembering how to read words while I'm on stage. So maybe I should just do the whole bit in emoticons or emojis. That would help out a lot. You're funny. I love it. I'm so glad you're here in this community. Everybody should introduce themselves to each other in the chat. I would love to learn from you guys too. All right. Only 3 coronal mass ejections today. That is significant after a long stretch of having 8 to 10 coronal mass ejections per day, and none of them with a partial halo. We did get active conditions after yesterday's. Let's see. That was yesterday. Yeah. So today we did reach a KP index of 4. That is the threshold of active geomagnetic activity. Let's take a look at our solar wind speed because it looks to be pretty high. Hemispheric power is still pretty high as well. Solar wind speed, yeah, looking really up there, well over 500, and still sitting well over 500. Disturbance storm time index is not indicating that we're in a geomagnetic storm, but we are a little bit disturbed as we are closer to negative 20 nanotesla in strength there. Interplanetary magnetic field is also elevated. We're looking at around 10 nanotesla. And unfortunately for Aurora fans, our orientation of that strong magnetic field is in the northward direction. So this will be like putting 2 magnets like repelling like right next to each other. The magnetic activity probably won't want to couple very well. Even though our magnetometers do seem to be very stimulated. Let's see. Let's look at what it looked like all day. Hello. It's a long show today. Sorry. I tried to talk as fast as I could, but there's just so much weather. Oh, wait, I'm clicking on the wrong button. I mean, more data, not info. Oh, yeah, solar wind speed has just really been steadily climbing all day. That is impressive. Density also going down throughout the day, which is usually, those are inverse relationships, so that tracks. And the strength of the interplanetary magnetic field really shot up around 256 UTC. So just a few hours ago, when our speed went up and density went down, our strength of the magnetic field also shot up. And that's when it really shot into the northern orientation as well. So let's see what real-time solar activity has looked like. We still have region 3712 growing. Oh, it went from 18 sunspots to 31 sunspots. It's still in a beta, gamma, delta configuration. And looking healthy as always down here. Looking really pretty there. And by pretty, I mean, if that was a bruise, you would get it looked at because it looks concerning. We've also got a huge dimming region forming up in the northern hemisphere of the sun. That'll be rotating into our view, as well as some beautiful prominences on those aren't prominences. Those are plasma tornadoes right here. And that might be a prominence or a filament. I'm not really sure which. And that is our interesting area of development, but not to be outdone by 3712 is 3713, which is a much larger area of the same relative amount of development. This region up here looks kind of nasty as well. Maybe that's in a beta formation. And that's 3715. That's not showing up on high numbers. Our protons really dipped down, but are climbing back up again. Looks like maybe we didn't have too much X-ray flux today. Hydrate, everybody. I've been talking this whole time. Maybe I'm just... looks like we're missing a chunk of data. But yeah, we've stayed solidly in the C-class range most of the day today. Let's take a look at our models, because I do believe that we were modeled to have a bit of a solar storm today. Yeah, a little bit of an elevation of wind and density, but nothing too crazy. Let's see what the Space Weather Prediction Center said. Oh. Can I... Will this load? Will it let me do anything? No. Sometimes it just doesn't want to show me. Let's go to... start playing music on my kalimba while we're loading, because this loading shit is getting out of hand. Maybe if I turn off... I'm going to turn off Earthquake 3D. I'm not missing any big ones, right? There's no new big ones. Now that I missed that 6.0 that happened during my broadcast, I'm like, don't miss the big ones. Oh, there was a new 4.5 out on the Nazca plate boundary. 4.5 at 10 kilometers depth. I'll show that before I close it out. This is our most recent, one of our recent quakes since the update. And since the update, there have been even more earthquakes around that deep one, deep and shallow couple. Some aftershocks, it looks like, aftershocks of that 6 in the 4.5 and 4.2 range. So that 6.0 in Peru has started to have its little aftershocks, both above and below where the deeper level was. Oh, beautiful. You love to see it. That's the symmetry that we expect and love to see. This 4.5 is the newest one. Yeah. Looks like nothing else too new. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut down Earthquake 3D so that I can load things better. How are you guys doing? Do we get lunar weather also? Yes. Are we still in a standstill moon still? Do you know? I'm not sure what you mean by are we in a standstill moon. Do you mean are we in a void of course moon? I believe so. All right. I don't know why my I don't know why my magnetosphere movies aren't coming up. Space weather enthusiasts. That's me. Yeah, let's watch visible light. You can see this blossoming. Oh, and here we can see the conjunction of Mercury and Venus taking place on LASCO. C3 coronagraph imagery. You can see it spreading apart, pulling out that plasma, and as it diverges, this is like upper level divergence in the atmosphere. If you see spreading on the surface of the sun, then you can bet that there is some convection underneath, upwelling different magnetic storms. New sunspots are going to be born when you see that separation in a sunspot region. But yeah, this region looks to be forming healthily as well. I'd say all three of these look like they are strengthening. Let's see if we see the conjunction of Mercury on top and Venus on the bottom here, or if that hasn't quite exactly happened in space yet. All right, we are moving ever closer to that conjunction, but it is not quite here yet. And here is the WSA Enlil model that I wanted to see that doesn't load very well for me on spaceweatherlive.com. Baby. Okay. That is enough kalimba playing, and this has not loaded yet, so I guess we are not going to get the WSA Enlil. So let's just go ahead and look at our planetary weather for today. Alrighty, we have the moon in Libra at 29 degrees. Oh, first of all, it is a sun day, Sunday being a sun day. It is a sun hour, and we've been broadcasting for an hour and 38 minutes. So we started broadcasting before the sun hour, and definitely broadcast all the way through the sun hour. We are currently in a Venus hour. So this is beautiful. We have the moon at 29 degrees of Libra trine to this exact conjunction of Mercury and Venus in Gemini. And Libra rules Venus, and we're about to head into Cancer, the ruler of the moon, and Mercury rules Gemini. So all three of these planets are probably behaving really well with their happy houses behind them. I think Libra moon is really indecisive but also popular. It's kind of the very democratic, diplomatic moon, but it definitely doesn't feel good if everyone else doesn't feel good. A Libra moon needs people to be copacetic, or at least they need to be able to really regulate their own emotions strongly to be able to see other people in pain. So it is a very powerful moon to be imbuing this conjunction energy with. Some people have described the moon as being like a bucket that fills up with the energy of the planets it passes by to dispense to the Earth. And other people say that there's a role of the sun and the moon to do that in different ways. But I definitely can see that. And these are the last two planets that the moon made a connection with. And that's usually what you think of as being in the moon's bucket, is the last planet it conjoined, is the energy it's carrying around to dispense to other places via the aspects it makes. But this trine is really beautiful, especially considering that this conjunction is also happening at a square to Neptune in Pisces. I think that we really need somebody diplomatic, noble, high-minded, value-minded, justice-minded to be able to keep our whatever crazy, harebrained, beautiful schemes we cook up in this Gemini, Mercury, and Venus conjunction. We need that is square to the planet of I always say delusion and illusion, but also the deep sea and the vastness of the cosmos and the subconscious, the shadow mind, like the shadow self. This is definitely something where your inner demons might show up in your work without you knowing it. Like you think that you create a piece of work and it says one thing, but it's actually revealing so much more about you. I think we really need this Libra moon at 29 degrees to calm everyone down and make sure that this is received well, and make sure that we are being fair to everybody around us, while we are in such a creative, almost manic space. I mean, this is definitely a type of conjunction that can increase mania, I think. But it's very dangerous for astrologers to talk about mental illness related to astrology, because it is so different and personal based on your unique chart. What is going to set off different things. I mean, this could indicate a period of depression for some people and others not. Anyway, that is a gorgeous help, I think. And Pisces and Libra are making a 5 aspect to each other. So the moon and Neptune are in a 5th harmonic relationship to each other right now. 5 is the energy of change, but also beauty, growth, very Venusian, very flowery, sugary, but also rotten. It's knowing how great things can be so that you know things need to change. And think of a 5. There's corner, circle. It's the change of the pattern. It's a completely new regime, from going from lines to curves, something like that. And we're having that relationship between the moon and Neptune. So I think that this is a really deep, deep yearning for something equitable to be expressed through this nexus of creation. This is really a highly creative, the final degree of Gemini, the conjunction of the two inner planets, Mercury and Venus, really within a 3-degree conjunction of the sun too. It's not just that they're conjoining, it's that they are conjoining within the beams of the sun. This is really putting a lot of emphasis on what you are creating right now. And whether you need to maybe take some time back, step back, take some time alone, do some deep diving, some deep cleaning. I know, for instance, this is happening in my 8th house, and I have definitely felt the need to clean out my crap. Like I've done laundry, and I mean, the Neptune is in the 4th house, Saturn's in the 4th house. This is in my 11th house, and this is in my 8th house. I'm really feeling the urge to make my space cleaner so that I can feel more mentally stable and happy and ready to let people come into my space, but also so that I can let go of items that can help other people in the world, because I'm not using them right now. Like random crap I have piled up because it's not trash. Somebody could use it. I just need to get rid of it so that other people can use it. That's kind of the energy here of like maybe even a letting go. Maybe that is the 29th degree, that anaretic degree coming out of really letting go of these cycles. We are almost done with this Pisces cycle, almost done with this Gemini cycle, and we're pretty much done with this Libra cycle for this moon. So this is also, I think, the art of letting go. All right. Yeah, we've also still got, this is our last few days of having 4 planets in Gemini. So we are still in a Gemini stellium. Jupiter and Mars are in a 1 aspect to each other, or a 2 aspect. I forget which one it is when they're 30 degrees apart. I think it's semi-sextile, but I forget which in harmonic astrology it is. So those are probably playing amicably with each other, though feeling a little tension, not really sure who's supposed to get the spotlight from Daddy Pluto up here. One's in a square and one's in a trine to Pluto. Okay, let's see. Sugary but also rotten. I arrived at the right time. Welcome, Anna. I am so glad to see you here. Yeah, we're talking stars now. We had a big weather update today, and yeah, children of the sun. Yes, the Mercury and Venus are children of the sun. I would definitely say we all are children of the sun if we get in contact with our soul. Yeah, a 5 aspect between the moon and Neptune is what I was talking about as being sugary but also rotten. And that is also a very Venusian number and quality. And both of those planets that are in that 5 aspect to each other are making an aspect to the Mercury-Venus conjunction. So I will be electing to use that energy to, like I just said, clean my room and do my laundry, but also work on my coloring book page for the month of June. It's a very dynamic, electric, wavy feeling one. I want to be able to publish a coloring book eventually, so I'm making 1 per month, 1 page per month. I think that's sustainable. But yeah, we've also got all these planets looking towards Pluto in Aquarius as it moves toward, like, it's in 1 degree of Aquarius. That is basically 29 degrees of Capricorn, and it has been hovering over these few degrees for years. All of these are making every aspect you can to this Pluto in Aquarius. So all of this energy, I mean, yeah, I think every single planet is making every single planet is in except for Saturn, is in one of these last few degrees or first few degrees of a sign. So they're all making different harmonic aspects to Pluto. I mean, we're seeing the trine, square, and sextile and oppositions pretty clearly on this one. But if we went to the harmonic aspect chart, we would see differently. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have time to go there today, but do I have that? No. I'd have to go pull that up. I'd have to find where I pulled that chart. But yeah, it's a beautiful day, and I feel like all of this is going to be epically baked into the system that is Pluto in Aquarius, whatever that system we're building is, and whatever that system we're tearing down is with Pluto in Aquarius. All right, so that is our planetary weather update for tonight. Let's go ahead and get into a beyond planetary reading, the galactic, the cosmic, bigger reading. Also, Jenny, I don't know if you noticed, but I did get, it's hard to, my things mirrored. I did get light bulbs for my salt lamp and lava lamp. So you can see those beautifully doing their thing in the background. And then I also put a green spotlight on the lava lamp so that you can see its shadow. In the shadow, you can see the lava moving as well. All right. If I ever have space or desire to advise a starting point for embracing harmonic astrology, all ears. This is awesome. It looks awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I do have a starting point for harmonic astrology, and I will share it in the community tab of my YouTube page. Do you guys know how to get to the community tab? Let's see. I'm going to pull it up real quick. I might have already shared it there. There's a guy on YouTube that has an excellent introduction to harmonic astrology. Let's see. Okay. Show you. I'm going to show this on the stream again. Okay, so this is my YouTube page. You can see I was watching Tamitha Scove before I started this. This is where you'll see like all my videos and stuff, but if you go up here to the tabs, there's this community tab. You click on that and you see all the shit that I share, the stuff by other amazing creators on YouTube, like the shutting down of the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, recent tropical tidbits, a really cool one about the ion bridge high voltage fog. That's where this guy is literally drawing in fog with his hand because he's grounded the water the fog is over. Electrically, it is so cool and a great illustration of how cloud bursting can work. But let's see, I really thought that I thought I had that harmonic astrology video shared on here. Maybe not. Oh, maybe not. But this is where I share a lot of text posts and a lot of great other videos. Let me see if I can find it really quick because I want to show you guys the harmonic astrology. It's probably in my liked videos, but I can't go through all those. That's too many. Okay. Oh, this is it. This is the guy. Okay. I also trust Samuel F. Reynolds a lot. So I will share this video. Samuel Reynolds, I follow him on Twitter and have for years. He's a Scorpio, and he's a great astrologer. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. I'll share this on the community tab, like I said. But he has a great introduction video that's about 30 minutes long here. And I think that was one of the first things I watched. And into harmonics, intro to harmonics. Okay. And then the other channel that I learned a lot of harmonic astrology from is this cybernetics, cosmic cybernetics channel. And he's got a whole playlist about harmonic astrology. Is this on? Yeah, it's from 9 years ago, but he's got a whole playlist on here where you can go really in depth. He goes in depth about what each of the 12 harmonies, 12 aspects to each other can make. So this is basically, harmonics are a deep dive into aspects where we normally only think of the popular aspects like square, trine, sextile, opposition, conjunction. Each of those is one of the harmonics, and there are also harmonics for every number between those that we don't usually look at. Okay, so those two are shared on my community page, community tab page now. So you should be able to go and nerd out, because I love nerding out about harmonic astrology now. I'm very much a beginner at it. And I do plan to take some courses in astrology eventually. I just have not actually done so. I did take an introduction test at on keplercollege.com. But I don't, and it placed me into intermediate beginner. So that's where I am there, but I have not actually gone through with it and taken any of the courses, because I just, I put my discipline interest into this show instead of expanding that knowledge set. I just got a feeling I needed to start talking about this daily. And this is now part of my astrology practice, to observe the weather and the astrology at the same time every day. Okay, so let's get into what is happening with the cosmic weather. Of course, I've got my beautiful labradorite. Pardon my nasty long nails. If I don't cut my nails every week, they get really long. I'm not complaining. I don't know, people can't grow their nails, say their life would be jealous, but sorry if it looks a little gross. But look at that beautiful flash in that labradorite. Love keeping a flashy labradorite with my I'm not going to shuffle those that way right now because my dad's asleep. Let's see. Okay, that was very fast. We got the King of Pentacles upright. King of Pentacles upright. What a way to start off this reading. This is the utmost in abundance, material security, physical power in this earth, and safety in your dominion. He holds a scepter in one hand and a pentacle or coin in the other. His gown, his robe, royal garments are draped in grapevines, decorated with grapevines, and that is a plant that comes up a lot in the suit of Pentacles, kind of indicating that maybe his estate has a winery, or that is part of what builds up his fortune. There's also actual grapevines in the background, and you see him decorated with bull skulls all over the throne here. That's a very Taurian image. I think his foot is on top of, I don't remember what the foot is on top of. Maybe a lion or something. I don't recall. But his foot is on top of a different type of animal, indicating dominance. But this is also a feminine suit. This is a very solid suit, but it's the most masculine and in his authority energy of the Pentacles card, or the Pentacles suit. This is the ultimate in material security. That's a very good feeling to be coming in from the universe right now, if that is the vibe coming in. This also, I think, does go along really well with Mars in Taurus. Mars is currently in Taurus at 5 degrees, making, again, that aspect to Jupiter in Gemini, which is co-present with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus conjunction. So King of Pentacles for our first card is very happy indeed. Also very big Father's Day vibes. King of Pentacles. This isn't our drawing, but this is the first card on top of the deck when I opened it up. What is chaos to the fly is harmony to the spider. I love that card very much. Just wanted to share that, but we will roughly shuffle to get a new player out here who is going to be with the King of Pentacles today for the vibe coming in from the universe beyond what we can sense with our telescopes and current scientific knowledge. What is the chaos indicated, alignment indicated, global coherence indicated, weather that's coming in from beyond the planetary system? Oh, did one of those get? No, okay. Oh, nobody wants to pop out. I'm going to have to just pick one of you. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, that's beautiful too. That looks very abundant and pentacly. What you love loves you back. What you love loves you back. So, what you love loves you back has a pothos on it, a potted plant. It says, love, like magic or God, is a concept that evades satisfactory definition, but is the driving force of everything we do. Perhaps they are all different words for the same thing. In practice, this could look like watering your houseplants, taking your dog on a walk, or admiring a painting you know is not for sale. A good rule of thumb is you cannot love someone and control them at the same time. Your life is a mirror of how you love, no exceptions. So that is very deep when in conjunction with the King of Pentacles, especially the line, a good rule of thumb is you cannot love someone and control them at the same time. Just like you could not have an abundant field without holding space for the chaos and for something's nature to bloom. There's something inherently chaotic and chaos honoring about the King of Pentacles and his ability to allow his fruitful garden to run wild in order to bring forth material security. You've got to let the things that you love run wild and be themselves, or else you don't really love them. Maybe I need to let myself have some times where I let my room get a little messy so that I can be extra grateful and thankful when I have time to align in the positive way. I don't know. What does this resonate like for you guys? What you love loves you back. I think that means do what you love and you will feel love so deeply from the universe, including yourself. If you show yourself a little love and compassion, like watering your plants or brushing your teeth or taking a shower or doing your laundry, you are going to love yourself a little bit more. I think that's so beautiful. Self-care is magic in a way. Oh, also, I don't know if I've showed you guys this, but I do have this beautiful smoky quartz tip with clear quartz, white quartz on the other end. And it's a really interesting dichotomy of order and chaos in one sphere here. So one realm. And it sounds magical. This is my magic wand. Heart. Love you. Listen to that. Such a beautiful sound. And the rougher side, the more chaotic side that looks like all cloudy, literally like a cloud, that's the one that rings more. Quite interesting to see that the one that doesn't have quite as crystalline, even crystalline lattice structure, because the clearer side is the one that has the clearer lattice structure. It has the more ringy, resonant sound. There's something in there that's very masculine and feminine at the same time about this piece that always teaches me new lessons. It sounds so good. Looks like a storm cloud. Absolutely like a storm cloud. Okay, last card. We will pull from our good vibes deck. Who goes with King of Pentacles and what you love loves you back as the energy that's coming in from the universe? Pride person, heart lesbian, pride flower, pansexual. I'm not seeing the emoticon, but I just love that that is what is said. Pride person, heart lesbian. Yeah, big vibes. Right back at you. Pride person, heart gay. All right. Okay. This card always challenges me, but it is very true. Physical well-being is only one good thought away. You could have every disease known to man within you today, and if you chose different feeling thoughts tomorrow, they would all leave your body. The key is to not give any unwanted thing much attention. When it doesn't feel good, turn your attention someplace else. That one is always so challenging to me because I don't want to feel like I could change things that I don't like. Sometimes I want to sit in my victim narrative and be like, no, I really have very many mental illnesses. Like, I really do need to be on prescription medication, and I always will be. And I just have no agency over that. It feels good to somehow allow myself rest by hanging my excuses on, or like hanging my reasoning on something being outside of my power. Like, it's shocking that the actual truth of this card not the offensive part, but like the truth of it is that you are allowed to have rest and not feel responsible for those bad feelings, even if they are under your control. Like, you don't have to give up your agency in the issue just to find relief and respite from it. Like, I feel like I use a lot of I'm helpless in this scenario mentalities about my physical and mental well-being in order to give myself a break, because I'm tired of fighting against the condition that I don't want to be true. But like, you're allowed to give yourself that break even if you have power to change it. And that's actually how you have the power to change it, is just giving yourself that break without the I don't have agency narrative. It's really annoying, though, when you do have chronic illness and mental illness, to draw this card a lot, because it is a reminder that like there is something I'm choosing about this. It doesn't sit well. This is a card that like almost made me throw out this deck when I first got it, because I was like, that's bullshit. But like, the more I draw it, the more it's revealing to me that little baby steps and little, like, what do I want to accomplish out of feeling like something's out of my control? That's the key thought there, is what do I accomplish by this I'm not in control narrative? And can I just give that objective to myself without the narrative? Like, what do I get out of the narrative that I'm a messy person and I don't clean my room often? Well, I'm getting an excuse not to force myself to clean my room as often, but I'm also feeling less bad about the way I live by that narrative. But like, oh, I have PTSD and I can't take a shower. Like, is that really what I want out of that narrative? Or do I just want to be able to live my life in a natural rhythm with myself, and not dictated by society's standards? Am I really clinging to, I like to identify as a messy person, or do I really just want other people to not judge me for what works for me? Can I like give that gift to myself of, you actually can identify with liking to clean yourself and your space sometimes and still not be obligated to do it all the time. That's kind of like a very mundane manifestation, and this is very different than, like, say, my very real depression, physical, chemical makeup. But like, and it's all so different for everybody depending on what their chronic illnesses are. But I think there is hope. There's like a little teeny tiny bit of hope in this, that you can actually give yourself the good thoughts that are at the end of your previously unhelpful narratives. You can just go ahead and give yourself that good thought, and that is what helps you not even need the narrative in the first place. So that is annoyingly true, but it also shows that what you love loves you back. What you put your time and effort and mental energy and mental and spiritual and physical love into is what's going to grow and manifest. And that is just as physically real and a source of physical security as the King of Pentacles. Having this narrative where you are in control of how you move through the world and where you find joy, that is what really gives you ultimate physical security. No physical thing could ever be more secure than having this relationship with abundance where you actually can claim it when you let go of your attachment to the idea of not having it. Yeah, there's something in there about like, there's a loss too when you want to claim abundance. You have to let go of your attachment to lack. And I think that's something I learned a lot through Jessa Reed and her abundance course and her Patreon, which is where I met Anna. And I'm sure some of you I've found through Jessa's work, or we found each other through that big soul tribe, whatever. Her lack and abundance work and course really taught me, like, I really can get as much as I will allow myself to have. And it truly is in my power to let go of my attachment to lack mentality in order to have security. There's a reason I haven't succeeded more than I have right now, and it's my attachment to whatever level success I'm on right now. For some reason, I'm attached to that. And in order to grow, I need to figure out what my attachment is so that I can thank it for keeping me safe and then let go of it. So I hope that is relatable to y'all. I hope that also, I'm probably going to share Jessa Reed's abundance course in my community tab as well, because I think if you have not already gone through that, it is an incredible value that, like, I can't even speak real person, earth human words about how much I believe in her work in that. So go do that. Go do Jessa's abundance course before you want to identify with King of Pentacles any further. Please go do Jessa's abundance course, because it is life changing. It is timeline changing. And you will find amazing, awesome people in her community, like on her Patreon and Discord channels. There's also a Discord for the abundance course where you can talk about your homework and stuff with other people. So I'm probably going to go back and do a refresher. It was about a year ago that I started her abundance course. And so I'm probably going to go back and do a refresher just from this card reading today, reminding me that abundance truly is where it's exactly within reach, and you could reach out and grab it if you want to. But there is probably something. The reason you can't grab abundance right now is because you're holding something else in your hands, and it's your attachment to lack. And that is beautiful. It's beautiful that you've been able to look at lack as a positive. It's beautiful that I've been able to be so grateful for so much and so little. But like, I've got to let go of that attachment if I want to reach and claim more or different things. And yeah, again, this is all stuff I got from like both Jessa and her community and the spiritual downloads and that I've received from since being on that wavelength. So go do that if you haven't already. I'm probably going to sign off here. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes, 17 minutes. Yeah, I am headed to bed as well. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. I'll see you tomorrow around 11 p.m. Sleep very well. Have great dream times. I love you all so much. Goodbye. Bye.